Chapter 4, Going Back, Back, Back. Mom was not entirely supportive when I told her my plan of going back to 1947 to meet Jackie Robinson. N-O, she spelled. No more time travel. Out of question. But Mom, what if someone tries to tick you off and you lose your temper in the past? She asked. You could get into a lot of trouble. I won't lose my temper, I promised. What if you get hurt? The doctors in 1947 didn't know what we know today. They didn't have our medicines, CAT scans. I'm not going to get hurt, I assured her. What about school? I won't miss any school. Last time I went back in time, it was the next morning here whenever I came back, and I'm going to do a report on it. Mom, it's for history class. It's going to be educational. Mom's a sucker for anything educational. I could ride my bike off a cliff and I could convince her that it was something I could do to learn physics of falling objects. She would probably say it was right, but this time she wouldn't bite. Joey, I said no. You can't stop me, you know, I announced angrily. But I could just go back in time and you'd never even know I was gone. Joe, I wake you up in the morning. I expect you to be in your bed every day. That's all I have to say. I will be, Mom. I promise. Mom gave me one of those hugs where she won't let go for a long time. I know I can't stop you if you really want to do this, she said, looking me in the eye. If you go against my wishes, just do me one favor. Be careful. And also, bring along this coat. Baseball season begins in April, Mom. It's springtime. What about global warming, she pointed out. They say the Earth is a lot warmer than it used to be. There's a hole in the ozone layer now. I rolled my eyes as she caught me. I just worry about you, Joey, Mom said, mussing up my hair. You've never been to New York City. It's dangerous. What if you run into Al Capone? Al Capone or some other criminal. I'm just going to meet Jackie Robinson, Mom. Then I'll come right back home. Besides, people always say how much safer New York City used to be a long time ago. Isn't that why the past is called the good old days? A few nights later after dinner, the doorbell rang. Mom motioned for me to get it. I knew it had to be my dad. My parents have been divorced for a couple of years now. They're on speaking terms, but Mom prefers not to speak to Dad if she doesn't have to. Dad lives in Louisville too, and we got together once a week or so. Mom scurried off to the kitchen. I let Dad inside, and he was carrying a suitcase. I noticed my initials, J.S., were embroidered on it. Hey, buddy, he said, overly enthusiastic. Your mom told me that you had an itch to go through time again. Yeah, I think I'm ready to try another trip, Dad. In that case, I brought you something. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out baseball card and handed it to me. I recognized the face of Babe Ruth right away. He flipped me the card. I flipped the card over and looked at the back. It was from 1930 and probably worth $100 or more. Dad's a machinist at the Louisville factory. He doesn't make a lot of money, not enough to be throwing around presents like this one. Wow, I exclaimed. I want you to have it, he said. You can use it, you know. I knew exactly what he meant. Dad grew up in New York. He's always been a huge Yankees fan. His favorite player of all time was Babe Ruth. When Dad was a kid, he told me he and his friends would wait outside Yankee Stadium after games for the players to leave the clubhouse, and then they would ambush the players for autographs before they would be able to get to their cars. Dad built up his autograph collection over the years, and now he's got just about all the Yankee greats except for Ruth. Babe Ruth died before my dad was even born, and his autograph is very expensive. Ever since we discovered I could travel back through time using baseball cards, Dad has been hinting around that I should go pay a visit to Babe Ruth and get his autograph. That's why he got me the Ruth card. Did I ever tell you the story of Ruth's cold shot, Dad asked. Only a million times. It was the fifth inning of Game 3 in the 1932 World Series. The Babe hit a monstrous home run over the center field fence at Wrigley Field in Chicago. According to baseball legend, just before the pitch, Ruth pointed towards the center field. Oh my gosh. Ruth pointed toward center field and said that he was going to sock the ball there. Some people say Ruth called a shot. Others say the film was taken of the at-bat, but it was too fuzzy to tell exactly what was going on. Dad really wanted me to go back to 1932 to find out if Babe really called a shot or not. It's the biggest mystery in all of sports, Joe, he said excitingly, and you're the only person in the world who can solve it. Dad, I really want to meet Jackie Robinson, I said. Maybe I'll visit Babe Ruth another time. Dad sighed. He knew I was pretty stubborn, and he wasn't going to talk me into it. What's the suitcase? I asked. Nothing, he said, handing it to me. It's empty. Dad, I already have a suitcase. It's not for your clothes, he whispered, like he didn't want Mom to hear. I knew Dad pretty well, and I had a feeling about what he had in mind. Joey, I want you to go back in time. I want you to buy as many baseball cards as you can, he said, taking out his wallet and peeling off a $10 bill. Fill the suitcase with them. Then bring the cards back with you. Can you imagine how much a suitcase full of mint-condition cards from 1940 will be worth in today's market? Thousands. I looked at him. My aim in going back to 1947 wasn't to make money. I just wanted to meet Jackie Robinson. What was he asking me to do probably wasn't illegal, but sometimes something about it just doesn't feel right. And besides, I told him baseball cards weren't even printed in 1947. If Bond Bread made a set of Jackie Robinson, Dad insisted, I'm sure other companies printed baseball cards too. People had cards before the war. They'll probably give them to you for nothing. My dad is my dad. I took the $10 bill and stuffed it in my pocket. I filled the duffel bag with t-shirts, blue jeans, clothes that I hoped wouldn't attract too much notice in 1947. I also packed my toothbrush, my Game Boy, stuff I would bring with me on any long trip. I almost had forgotten to pack the most important thing, a baseball card. Just as I needed a 1947 card to get to 1947, I need a present-day card to get home again. Baseball cards to me were sort of like plane tickets. They took me to the past and brought me to the present. I went through my card collection. It didn't really matter which current-day card I choose. Even a card of the worst bench warmer in the big leagues would get me back home when I needed to return. No, I decided, when I travel, I want to travel in style. So I pulled out my best card, Junior Ken Griffey Jr. It would get me back home whenever I was ready to leave the past. I slipped the Griffey card into my wallet. Mom knocked on my door. I thought she was going to try to talk me out of my trip one more time. She didn't. She simply handed me a styrofoam cooler and undoubtedly packed enough food to last a year. You be careful now, you hear? I promised her that I would, and she put the cooler at the end of my bed. After I put my duffel bag and Dad's empty suitcase on the bed, too, there wasn't a whole lot of room left for me. I squeezed on somehow and took out the Jackie Robinson card. My mom kissed me on the forehead and shut the door behind her. I held the card with both hands against my chest in the year 1947 and thought of the year 1947, the Brooklyn Dodgers, New York. It wasn't long before I felt a tingling sensation in my fingertips. Then all over my body it was a pleasant feeling, almost like a cat purring in your ear. Jackie Robinson, what was he like? I wondered. What must have it been like for him? What did he have to put up with being the first African American to play in the big leagues in the 20th century? I wish I could see what he experienced. Then I dropped off to sleep.